Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are we going? Sorry, I don't really need the microphone, but if I don't use it, they won't be able to hear me online. So welcome to Flinders Archaeology. You definitely don't need to hear me twice. Welcome. It's so good to have you here. My name's Ian Moffat. I'm a professor of archaeological science in archaeology. And then we've got some wonderful other archaeology staff and students. Courtney, one of our very best undergrads, and Jared Carlessa, a lecturer in archaeological science. And we're thrilled to have you. So my job today is to introduce you to the wonderful world of archaeology at Flinders, but also to introduce you to Flinders more generally. We're going to spend about an hour together here. Really happy to take any questions, both about archaeology and Flinders more generally. And then I'm going to hand you back to the wonderful Courtney, who is going to walk you down to, I understand, a free lunch. Is that?
Yes, there's a free lunch down in the hub.
That will be the last time it happens in your degree, so definitely take advantage of that. And then I really encourage you to hang around. The wonderful Archaeology Society also have a stall down in the hub, and I really encourage you to drop in and meet them while you're here. I want to start by acknowledging that we're meeting today on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people. A big feature of doing archaeological research, and particularly the work that Jared and I have done, is engaging with traditional owner communities. It's a really important part of contemporary archaeology and something we all enjoy doing very much. So I do want to acknowledge that we're meeting on Kaurna land today. And I want to welcome you to Flinders Archaeology. I was sort of struggling to think about how to talk about archaeology generally and archaeology at Flinders. There's so many exciting things, but the thing that I really want to get across to everyone today is, apart from saying welcome, is to really put across the message that there is a place for everyone in archaeology. It's the thing that I love about this discipline so much. I'm going to speak about my journey into archaeology, and Jared and Courtney are going to do the same. But the thing that I love the most about archaeology is the enormous breadth of what we do. So whatever your interests are, and I might ask a few of you to share them with the rest of the group, whether it's from the really hard science physics of how to date quartz grains, right through to the really anthropological aspects of archaeology and everything in between in terms of geographic or time scales. There is something for you to do in archaeology, and there's things that you'll be interested in. And I hope, as has been the case with my career, that as you go through your archaeological journey, that will continue to change over time, and new and interesting things will keep popping up. So it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you for coming, and I can't wait to spend the next few years teaching you a bit more about archaeology. So my name's Ian, and as I said, I'm a professor of archaeological science. My journey into archaeology is really interesting because I've never studied archaeology, actually. So I trained as a geologist. I worked in near-surface imaging, so using geophysical techniques to see down into the ground. I did my PhD on using geochemical techniques, so measuring the composition of teeth from Neanderthal and Homo erectus sites in Israel and in the south of France. I worked as a postdoc mapping ancient Greek cities in the Peloponnese, and then I've worked since then on a whole range of sites around the world. And it's been wonderful. I mean, I've often gone for a month without a shower, living in a tent. I've got on a plane so many times I can't remember how many it is. And I've been involved in some of the biggest discoveries in human evolution and forensics over the last 10 years or so. And it's just been a wonderful career and something I enjoy very much. I mean, a couple of things that you might have heard of And Jared was involved in the first one of these, the Beaumont Children excavation that's happening at the Castellet factory at the moment. So Jared and I did the imaging work back in 2018 that identified that target. We were there on the site for the first excavation. I also did the imaging work for the discovery of the world's oldest amputation, which was found in Borneo 2019. So we worked in a cave in northern Borneo where we found a skeleton where the left foot had been cut off, and cut off in a way that can't have been by accident. So it looks like an industrial accident. The bone had been had been perfectly cleanly cut. But the most interesting thing is that we realised that individual had then survived for at least another 10 years. So we believed that it was an intentional amputation, and that there was advanced healthcare then given to that person. And the most interesting part of that is the skeleton was 35,000 years old. So it completely redefines the way that we think about early healthcare, the way we think about pre-agricultural communities. So that was fantastic. Also, living in the jungle in Borneo and all that sort of thing is great as well. And another big discovery I was involved in is on early African hominids, so looking at the maternal history, so the duration of breastfeeding and the episodic nature of breastfeeding and the mobility of these hominid babies, essentially. That was fascinating as well. So that's why I do archaeology, is to do that kind of really impactful, interesting work. But my focus now, if I go back to the previous slide, is I've got a big project working collaboratively with traditional owners in the Simpson and Strzelecki deserts. And we're addressing what I think is the most interesting question in Australian archaeology, which is that there's a whole bunch of now dry lakes in those locations. We don't know when they formed, we don't know when they were last full of water, and we don't know how the water got there. But clearly understanding that is a very important thing for understanding the archaeology of the region. As far as we can tell, the archaeology up there is incredibly young compared to the surrounding areas, and we're trying to work out why. So me and a bunch of great students, and Jared as well, are working up there for the next few years, again spending lots of time living in swags, flying around the desert in the helicopter and doing all sorts of wonderful things. So I might now hand over to Courtney.
Okay, so I've introduced myself a few times to everyone in here, but my name's Courtney. I am the undergrad rep for FUSA for Archaeology. So if you have any feedback for lecturers or that sort of stuff, that's the sort of thing you can come to me, and I can help facilitate that and pass that along in a constructive way. That's my main role there. That being said, if you have any individual issues, I do have access to all of the support places, so I can always lead you in the right direction and whatnot. I chat a lot. I'm always down for a chat. So if you see me anywhere, you can just flag me down, just be like, "Oi, you." I'm always down to have a conversation about anything. And yeah, so I love archaeology. This is my second degree here at Flinders, so I've been here a long time. Any questions about anything Flinders? All yours, basically. So I went up and I worked in the desert for a while up in Queensland, and I loved it. I was tour guiding, and I realized, I love people. I love learning about this environment. The geology up there was amazing. So then I decided, you know what, let's go back to South Australia, where's home, and study again. So that's how I came back here to study archaeology, and it's been, a great time. Wonderful. That's a bit about me.
Thanks, Courtney.
Hi everyone. So I'm Jared Kalisa. So you'll probably see me in a few of the topics you'll be doing through your degrees at in archaeology. I've been here for a while now. I was a student all the way through here. I used to come up for classes when I was in high school, and then I've done my undergrad honours, masters, PhD here. So for the last coming on to 20 years now I've been around here. And I've really loved every second of the things I've done in archaeology. The thing that attracted me to archaeology is that it's really, really broad in terms of the areas of specialization and interests and interdisciplinary aspects. So I am the kind of person who just constantly is obsessed with something, but that thing can change from week to week, and archaeology sort of suits that quite well because there's a lot of different sort of facets and avenues, and no matter what your research question is, there's lots of avenues from which you can attack that and really understand that. So the kinds of things that I mostly specialize in is what broadly can be called digital archaeology. So it's sort of using tools and methods from all sorts of digital disciplines and applying them to archaeology. So this includes sort of like geophysics, like Ian does, but geomatics and remote sensing and GIS type things broadly as well as things like programming, virtual reality, 3D game design, 3D object design, photogrammetry, remote sensing. So all these things that we see developed and used in all sorts of different industries can be really applied in archaeology in all sorts of different ways. So that's sort of the area that I focus on is sort of those interdisciplinary approaches. Yeah.
Thanks, Jared. Now let's do the scary bit. Does anybody want to share their own journey into archaeology or their own archaeology story? Don't all say yes at once. Someone can be brave. You're in the front. What?
Hi, my name's KJ. I've always been fascinated with like dinosaurs and history, mythology. That's just kind of the person I am. And when I heard that Flinders had not only a paleo course, they also had the archaeology course, I came over and had a tour. And when I heard that the paleo course is wonderful, but they mainly focus in like the large mammals and all that kind of stuff. And for me, my special interest is dinosaurs. So I was a bit more like, that's great, but archaeology is a bit more broad, so I can kind of specialize in different things. So that's why I ended up picking archaeo.
Welcome. Anyone else feeling brave that's not in the front row? Yeah? Let me pass them.
I'm Dave. A couple of years ago, as part of my criminology degree, I did an archaeology topic, which was the conflict between the wonderful mining industry in Western Australia and Indigenous cultures, who the mining industry seemed determined to drive out of existence. I can't remember the name of the topic. It was something to do with culture and
Cultural heritage and the law?
Thank you very much. And that fitted right in with my criminology degree because there was a lot of law in it. And that was with Amy something or other. Thank you. And that was fabulous and it got my interest up. Over the last couple of years, I've been doing research for a novel that I was writing. Yeah, I know, they're all going, oh, shit. But yes, I did a lot of research, huge amounts of research, and I found it thoroughly interesting in every way. And then when I finished my crim and law degrees at the end of last year, I decided I wanted to go back and find out what I got wrong in the novel, and also all the bits that I hadn't quite understood completely, I might actually learn to get my head around. So for those reasons, and also because I was looking for something that wasn't to do with criminology, which can be a bit shaky on the emotions at times when you're looking at incarceration and murder and rape and all that other stuff, I wanted something that was a little less conflicting, I suppose. So my first topic here is murder and ritual in the ancient world, which kind of, yeah, there's an ironic twist to that. But that's why I'm here. I'm heavily into finding out what I don't know. And there's a saying by somebody that the more you learn, the more you realise how ignorant you are. And I'm a great believer in that because the more I learn, the more I realise what I don't know. So I'm here to find out what I don't know. There you go. That's it.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, buy the novel. I need sales.
Anyone else? Oh, great. I'll come around here. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marty. And basically the story of how I got into archaeo and decided to choose this path in academics is I think ever since I was a kid, I was very into everything history, paleontology, archaeology. big into anthropology as well, paleoanthropology, and I think that's one of the big reasons as to why I picked archaeology, is because I'm fascinated in learning about people, and I think the first thing that sort of got me into it was being privileged enough to go to Italy and to see the site of Pompeii and Herculaneum. And I found the work there and all of the research and all of the excavations deeply fascinating. So, yeah, I thought it would be a really great course to choose, and I'm really excited to get more into it and to learn more about the discipline. So, yeah.
Welcome. Thank you. Maybe one last brave person before we move on. Thank you.
All right, so I assume everyone in here has or has not at some point dug in the dirt a lot, like especially as children. You're just like, oh, what's that cool thing? You pick it up and then you want to know what it is. And we all live on this planet, right? And there are so many different people everywhere. Why not take the opportunity to learn those people, to learn about those people? And specifically, this is like not following that line of conversation whatsoever, so forgive me in advance. But Assyriology is a very underdeveloped field of archaeology because it is so new, and because of that, I want to be the person who finds the city of Akkad. I want to be the person who finds where Gilgamesh was buried, if he was in fact buried. And there are so many languages and all that that are yet to be deciphered, and there's just a bunch of stuff that needs to get done, and I want to get it done.
Fantastic. You've come to the right place.
Just purely as a matter of interest, this is an ironic thing. This is Brent. Hello, guys. He spent last year doing year 12 with my grandson. This is weird shit.
It's actually, it's a perfect segue to say this is the other thing I love about archaeology, which is the connections that are built between different people, and that could be in a cross-cultural sense. I mean, working collaboratively with communities all over the world, and an intergenerational sense as well. I mean, my mother-in-law recently finished her graduate diploma in archaeology here at Flinders. She started that degree because when I met my partner on a Tinder date, we were talking about her mother loved archaeology. She immediately enrolled, and she's been coming to my office and bothering me ever since. I think, Jared, you might be the only person has a mother and son combo, both with PhDs from archaeology at Flinders. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing about archaeology is connecting with a whole bunch of people that you might not otherwise. So why we've talked about archaeology generally, but obviously Flinders pays my salary, so I have to give you the good news about them as well. And I'm going to say, hand on heart, that this is the best and most successful archaeology program in Australia. So we have a wonderful program here for a range of reasons. But if we use the awful metric of just most students, I think we would succeed on that basis. But also in terms of research, facilities, the staff, everything supports this program being the leading one. So whatever you want to do in archaeology, you can do it here, basically. I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's an overclaim. Generally, you can do it here. I talked before about work that I've been involved in, and that resonates out with all of the academic staff here. We've got people working all over the world on stuff that is in the news every day, across all fields of archaeology, whether it's rock art, whether it's space archaeology. We have one of the world's only experts in the cultural heritage of space junk here at Flinders. We've got experts in geoarchaeology, archaeological science, remote sensing, Indigenous archaeology, historic archaeology, the list goes on. So we've got an amazing, in fact, I can't remember how many staff we have because we have so many now, but something like 20 research and teaching staff across a whole range of areas and genuinely contributing to debates that are happening right now. And I will see many of you probably in the first year ARC topic in a few weeks, talking about human evolution. And just as an example, that field in the last 10 years has been completely changed. So there's discoveries happening all the time that have completely changed our understanding of the human story. And people here at Flinders have been involved or made those discoveries. And the exciting part of it is that will be you in a few years. So as you move through your journey, I hope we see you all as honours or master's students, PhD students, that you have the opportunity to make those discoveries and contribute to how we understand humanity. And I don't think you can say that about many disciplines in quite the same way. I mean, if you're a theoretical physicist, it's much harder, I think. It still can be done, but to really contribute to changing the entire discipline is a hard thing. But it's something that can be done in archaeology. It's something that many of us have done and are continuing to do. So if that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. The other thing we have at Flinders Archaeology is absolutely outstanding facilities. As we've talked about, my kind of principal area of interest is subsurface imaging. We have a ground penetrating radar here, which is the only one of its kind in Australia. We have a magnetometer here, which is the only one of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. We have an astounding suite of other equipment for a whole range of different subfields, and we're very well supported with excellent tech officers. So you will have the opportunity to be hands-on with the latest kit through your degree, and many of you will certainly see, probably Jared and I, it's a few years away, but we have our third year field school at Glenthorne National Park, which we contribute to the teaching of, and you will be absolutely using those techniques yourself. And I'm not sure, it's a little way in the future, but you'll probably be excavating significant sites yourself on that field school. So yeah, we're incredibly lucky. I've talked about the staff already, but the other thing, which is a real strength of Flinders, and is the wonderful students that we have. So there's a great bunch of undergraduate, postgrad students, and we have an incredibly active Archaeology Society, of which Courtney is the secretary of. And this is a huge and wonderful thing to be involved in. So one of the great things about doing an undergraduate degree is the connections that you forge between your peers. And ArcSoc has been an absolute pillar in the university of keeping that going. So Courtney, maybe can I ask you to speak a little bit about ArcSoc? I'm just shamelessly putting Courtney on the spot here.
Hi, so I'm the secretary of ArcSoc. I actually started as an undergrad rep for ArcSoc, and then I stepped into the role of secretary midway through last year. We plan a lot of social events and that sort of stuff. We actually have one Friday night coming up, so if you come down to the ArcSoc table, we'll tell you all about it later. But we also do really fun things. So one of my favourite things we do is we publish a student publication called Dig It, and it's a journal, and once you get published in that, you're a published archaeologist basically. So you can write it in, send it into the editor, we edit it up, we put it real nice, and we actually get it published for you, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, it's been running since I think the 1980s. It's been quite a while, Dig It. So we released one last year, and we're planning on doing at least 2 this year as well. So we have some examples of those down at the table later as well. And yeah, we do a lot of social stuff. I will be hosting coffee catch-ups on Thursdays before the seminars, which is also an awesome thing we do here at Flinders. There's a free public seminar pretty much every Thursday. So I'll be doing a coffee catch-up. You can just come chat with your peers. If you have homework questions and all that, we also do little homework workshops and whatnot too. So yeah, lots of fun little stuff. So if you join the society, we post everything. We've got Facebook pages, everything. Yeah.
Thanks, Courtney. Okay, so I've done a lot of school visits. I've stood on the the open day thing. I've talked to many worried parents about jobs in archaeology, and actually, I think this is not that important at some level. I didn't say that out loud today, but because I think that the most important reason to study archaeology is because of you're interested in it, that you're passionate about it, and engage in these questions. But we do, of course, all have bills to pay, and many people that I've met in my life in these kind of engagement sessions have said, "Oh, I've always wanted to be an archaeologist, but there's no work in it, so I've become something as boring as a lawyer even sometimes." So I just want to absolutely squash that point straight away. There's so much work in archaeology. And in fact, we've had a terrible problem in the last few years that our students keep getting hired before they finish their degrees and disappear. There is, of course, some caveats to this point. So many jobs in archaeology are in remote areas, might involve fly in, fly out work, but it is somewhat cyclical because of the resource industry. But right now, there's lots of work. So if you are passionate about archaeology and you want to work in that field, it's absolutely something that's viable. And there's lots of different places you can work. Many of our graduates work as heritage consultants, so they work for small, specialised firms that provide consulting services to things like property developers, or the mining industry, or any project that might be disturbing the ground has heritage consultants involved at some level. This is an incredibly important job. This is what is preserving and documenting heritage that would otherwise be lost, and it's an important way to bring traditional owner voices to the fore as well. So this is a great source of employment and incredibly important job to be done. Lots of archaeologists work in local, state or federal government, from the sort of heritage officers at local councils. The state government employs many archaeologists in DEW and Aboriginal affairs, and then there's many people doing policy at a federal level. So there's many different kind of variations of this, but there's lots of work. You could work at a museum, work as a ranger or with an Indigenous organisation. Many archaeologists work directly for mining or property development companies. And then if all of that fails, you can do what I have done in State University and teach. So there's many opportunities there. So set your mind at ease. On that score, we're actually just about to launch a big archaeology marketing campaign, which kind of focuses on that aspect, that this squashing this misconception that there's no work. So how can you get the most out of your time in archaeology at Flinders? I know it doesn't feel like it today. It's, first day on campus, or first day on campus as an archaeologist. It seems like you've got plenty of time, but your 3 years will go incredibly quickly. And from a non-student perspective, it seems to me that the students that have the best experience here are the ones that engage the most with the various opportunities available in archaeology. It goes without saying, perhaps, that you should come to class and come to your tutorials and do your work. But that aside, I really encourage you to sign up for the Flinders Archaeology mailing list. And this is incredibly hard to find online, actually. It took me ages to find the sign up link. So if you are interested, write it down or take a photo and follow this link. This is a not particularly onerous in terms of spamming you mailing list, but any notifications about seminars, special events, volunteer opportunities, that sort of thing is put on this. So it's a great resource for keeping track of everything that's happening here.
Sorry, no, I just got a message from the phone who says recording ended. It might have ended, but that was from a while ago. So. Oh,
Yeah,
this was from 20 minutes ago. So maybe it's
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you. So sign up for the FERD list today is my advice. I chair the weekly seminar, which, as Courtney said, is every Thursday at 3 o'clock. I think it's in North 2 this semester. So that runs during all the teaching weeks. So the first seminar will be next Thursday. We've got the very distinguished academic and artist, Dr. Ursula Frederick, coming from the University of Canberra to speak, and we have a mix of visitors in person, remote seminars, and then staff and students from Flinders. So that is from 3 till about 4 every Thursday, not in the holidays, and then we usually head down to the Flinders Tavern for some social time after that seminar. So it's a fantastic event, lots of great speakers, and it's a really good way to get some archaeology outside of your formal curriculum. Courtney's spoken far more eloquently than I ever could about ArcSoc. It's a wonderful resource, and I understand there's a bake sale and or barbecue next Thursday as well.
So there's a bake sale and barbecue next Thursday. I think I'll be hosting coffee catch up on Thursday as well. I just have to double check that's gone through, but we definitely do have a bake sale and sausage on Thursday.
So it's a great community, great way to meet some other people. And then finally, I just saw Rani walk past the window actually, but there's volunteer opportunities available in the lab. So many of you were in the lab with me before, and there are various opportunities to contribute to working on collections as part of research. And Marani Lidster, who's a lecturer here, has got a project running at the moment, sorting shells from a site in Timor or something like that, something interesting. But if you're interested in going along, just send Rani an email or you'll see her in class, I'm sure, very soon. And that's a great opportunity to learn some practical skills in a particular aspect of archaeology. Maybe shells don't turn out to be your thing, and that's okay. But to get the chance to work one-on-one with an eminent expert in that field is a great opportunity, I think. So I encourage you to take it up. And there will be various other opportunities for lab work on stone artifacts or paleobotanics and other things that will pop up on the FUED list. Okay, there ends our archaeology-specific content. So before I move on to everything else the university wants me to say, questions, comments? Okay, no problems. If you think of anything, please jump in. And the other thing I would say is that all of the staff and students in archaeology are incredibly friendly, open to questions. So things will no doubt pop up today through the next semester, next 3 years, more than that. Please don't be shy and ask. So in terms of Flinders, you should now have been issued a fan and have set up a password for that. Has anyone not succeeded in that respect? Good. So the Wi-Fi network on campus is the EDU Roam one, and that should work on any university campus in Australia and many university campuses in the world. So once you've set up, you can, if you're at a conference or somewhere else, that should work fine. If you don't have a fan, you need that desperately, or you don't exist as a Flinders person. So definitely jump on to the student.flinders.edu.au or get in touch with Flinders Connect, and they will help with that. There's a wonderful new students page. If you need any information on enrolling or registering in classes, go here. And the Ask Flinders website or the Flinders Connect service, these are the nicest people in the world. They're incredibly helpful. So if you need to reach out for any support, please do so. Don't be shy. Any of these enrolment or other problems can usually be easily sorted out, so please get in touch with them. And you will need to get an ID card, and you can do that from your Okta desktop. So if you go to this web address, use your fan to log in, and just press the Order My ID Card button, all of that should happen very easily for you. So you need to be thinking very soon about enrolling in topics and registering for classes. The first week of teaching is, as you probably know, next week. So lectures will start next week. For most first year topics, the tutorials start in week 2, but don't quote me on that. The best thing you can do is log into the student system as early as you can and pick your topics and then register for any classes. So you'll see for most first year topics, there's a variety of number of different tutorial options for each class. So if you've got specific time constraints, I encourage you to jump on as quickly as possible to grab those options, because as they fill up, your options will reduce. So we have an online learning environment. It's called Flinders Learning Online. And you will find heaps of information about all of your topics on there. So those topics will go live on that system 7 days before classes commence. So they should be live now. And there's lots of information there about readings, about the assessment expectations, about the information about the topic. So I really encourage you to not wait until the first week of classes. Jump on this week, have a look at those resources. If anything's unclear, get in touch with the topic coordinator or put in an Ask Flinders request. And again, people will be incredibly helpful and you can get the information that you need. But you will be doing you'll be spending a lot of time on this system. And so I do encourage you to get familiar with it as soon as you can. There's a bunch of wonderful scholarships, and students often don't think to investigate this, but I would encourage you to head to the scholarships page. You can search, as this person's done, for open and opening soon, or you can be a bit more prescriptive in terms of undergraduate scholarships. And there's some really cool little kind of very specific scholarships that might be of interest. So don't write off this option. Please go and have a look. And if you are eligible, I really encourage you to apply for some support. So in terms of getting to Flinders, I'm going to say that the best way to get here is to ride your bike, which is what I do, which is not on this slide. And don't be scared of the hill. It gets easier every day, and it's much more fun on the way down. And there's an excellent bike path if you follow the train line. But I know that almost no one will do that because there's only about 3 bikes in the shed on campus every morning. But if you don't ride, there's great options in terms of parking, the train, the bus, or the loop bus. The parking is free this week for O Week, but after that you do need a parking permit to park on campus. Yes?
Motorbike parking is free, so motorbike license.
I didn't know that. That's a good option. The bike parking is free as well, by the way. But the parking inspectors are actually fairly active here, sadly. So don't chance it. Definitely get a parking permit, and there are options available either for the semester, year, or you can buy day-to-day parking, and there's discounted rates for students. But there's buses from everywhere, seemingly, that mostly stop at Registry Road, but many buses also go to the medical centre.
And Tonsley parking is free as well.
If you park in the Flinders area, Tonsley Road, you need a permit. It's still free, but they will fine you if you don't have a permit. But it's still free. You do need to apply for that permit though for your car.
And if you park at Tonsley, you can get the free loop bus here, or walk if you prefer. But yeah.
As far as the parking goes, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can get a permit, or you can do what I do. You're on the Solo Park, and you get in touch with them with your phone every day, put in the area you're parking in, and then it just charges you the limit for the day. I found that easier than the parking permits. And yes, you're quite right. parking inspectors here are worse than the ones at the Adelaide Council. Okay? And they have an electronic device. They drive around and it tells them if you haven't got a parking permit. They don't have to look at your number plate. They've got a little eye in the sky that does it for them. And they're bit vicious, and it's about $80 a hit. So don't get sprayed.
What I would say,
Ask me how I know.
what I'll say unofficially, nobody's recording this, are they? Obviously, the first time you get caught, you should apply for an exemption for that ticket. They'll usually give you one for free if you write a nice email. But yeah, you should pay for parking whichever way you do it. But yeah, the bus connections to Flinders are pretty good. The train is fabulous. It only takes 22 minutes, as it says, to get to the CBD. And you can either walk to the station or the various loop bus services. So there's a bus that runs from the train station up to campus regularly, and there's another loop bus which runs from this campus to Tonsley, I think to the train station as well. And if you go to this Bus Minder app and enter Flinders, it's quite creepy. You can see the buses in real time moving around the campus, so there's no need to sort of wait out there for ages. You can be very safe and head straight for the bus when you need. But ride your bike. That's my take-home message.
The route buses are very regular as well, so catch a train. They're there all the time.
Yes, there's lots of fabulous options there. Any other questions about transport? Security on campus. So the security officers are here 24/7. They're really lovely. I've lost my keys to my office so many times and they always let me in. So I really encourage you, if you have any issues where you need assistance on campus, you can get in touch with them. So there's hotline telephones around the campus. You'll see them as you move around, or if you call them on 8201-2880, which is on the back of your security ID, that will put you straight through to the office. You probably haven't seen it, but there's also a security office in the plaza. It's kind of tucked away behind the steps, but please don't hesitate to reach out to the security staff. They're really, really lovely and helpful and never very far away. Also, that's the lost property office. So if you lose anything on campus, do go and check in with them. They're always happy to help. It's absolutely, student safety is completely front and centre at Flinders. It's something we take really seriously. And so if you experience or witness any unacceptable behaviour or harassment, we really urge you to make a confidential report. And it's important to say that this does not initiate a complaint necessarily, but it's the first step for you to get the support and information that you need and how to move on to the next step. So I really encourage you to do this. If you see anything that's inappropriate, you can email this email address, call the number, or there's an opportunity to make it online. And please do this if you're in the situation of needing to. We've also got fabulous support for learning in a whole number of ways. And students have not always taken advantage of this great resource, but I really encourage you to. So you can get one-on-one study support. There's sort of generic workshops on things like referencing to improve your academic skills and a whole bunch of stuff there. So this is a great resource, and it's the sort of thing that you have access to as a student. Maybe you don't think about, you're too busy doing your courses, and then you go out, you finish and you think, oh, I wish I'd taken advantage of that. So do check this out. So there's a learning lounge in the central library. You can just wander in and chat with a learning advisor. They're fabulous. They've got great skills and they can walk you through what's available, or you can book an online session using this link. And speaking of the library, I'd really encourage you to take advantage of the libraries that are on all of the different South Australian Flinders campuses. So the big library is here, opposite the hub. There's also a library down at the Sturt campus, the Flinders Medical Centre at Tonsley, and in the wonderful City campus. And as well as accessing resources, the library is a great place to work if you're on campus during the day. There's a whole bunch of desks there, study spaces. You can book private rooms. So do get in touch with them and check that out. And they also have support sessions about how to use their resources. So I encourage you to take advantage of them. And we've got Tim Ormsby in the library, is an archaeologist and can provide specific support there. We also take wellbeing really seriously at Flinders, and there's this Better You service, which is to support you more generally, so your physical, emotional, social and spiritual health, and there's great resources for this on campus. So take advantage of this. And we also have excellent health counselling and disability services here. So there is a doctor or nurse on campus, and it's 100% bulk billed, so you can access that service without cost. You can talk to a counsellor or a disability advisor. So I really encourage you to give them a call or reach out in any situation. And really important to say that they also have an after hours crisis support line that you can contact. Please don't hesitate to use this service if it's appropriate. But all of the staff there are fantastic, and again, a wonderful resource to have on campus.
There's also over at State campus, there's Turn Yourself to Go. You can get physio from a final year physio student at about $15 an hour. They're the cheapest optical you'll ever find anywhere. I've been getting my glasses there since I started here. They've got various other things, dietitians, all that. But as far as physio and glasses go, you can't beat the prices anywhere. Okay, so it's Health to Go. Look it up, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's a great tip. We've also got the wonderful Oasis Centre, which is it's a bit hard to explain. It's the former staff club down near the Humanities car park. You'll see the signs from the hub to get up here. This is a really wonderful space, and it's been very important for a lot of my students. So there's a kind of lounge and outdoor area. There's free tea and coffee. They've got study spaces, kitchen facilities, and then a whole bunch of musical instruments, board games, prayer rooms, hireable spaces. It's a real hub for a lot of things on campus, and they hold some wonderful events like a regular meditation session. They do walks in the Flinders Forest. There's a market. So this is a great resource, and I really encourage you to check this out and see what they have available.
They also have a stall down in that area at the moment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
check that out.
That's a great tip. Yeah, I really encourage you, if you have time, apart from obviously you're all going to the ArcSoc stall. That's a non-negotiable, but there's a lot of other great stalls down there. It's a great opportunity to see everything at the one time and get in touch with people. Okay, international student team is fantastic. Happy to help you with specific questions about being an international student on campus. And Yungarindi is a wonderful resource. We're very lucky to have more than 100 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students at Flinders, and they have great services, including free tutoring, financial support, assistance with study skills. So I'd encourage you to reach out to them. They also have the wonderful yarning circle, which is just sort of downhill of the hub. It's a beautiful part of campus and a nice spot to spend some time. If you're interested in career stuff, Maybe it's a bit early on your first day, but as you move forward, the career readiness team are fantastic, and they're particularly active in the space of kind of internships, events, and that sort of thing. So if you have an interest in that area, please reach out to them. I also think their job application review service is a really good one. So if you're thinking about writing your first sort of professional job application, again, maybe not today, but as you move through your degree, I encourage you to get in touch. They're a great resource. Okay, so in terms of orientation, you if you log into Flow, so this is the online thing we spoke about earlier, there's a specific thing about finding your way at Flinders, so an online orientation replicating a lot of the stuff you've done today, but a great resource for this week. And then we are in O Week, obviously, this week, no classes, great opportunity to get a sense of the campus. So do go down to the Welcome Hub for your free lunch, apart from anything else. You can do a campus walking tour. I've also seen the Fearless buggy screaming around the campus yesterday. It's probably a bit too fast for me, but if you'd like to see the campus in that way, please take advantage of it. And then there's a whole bunch of other social stuff, club stuff, great resources this week. And then Connect Week is the next week. And there's still stuff happening in the hub. There's going to be a market day, quiz night, picnic, all sorts of stuff going on to make you feel, continue to make you feel welcome on campus. And of course, Connect Week is the first week of classes. So you'll be starting your lectures. Now, these dates, the most important one for you to be aware of is the census date. So you'll be starting your lectures next week. You'll have a few weeks to get a sense of if they're the right fit for you. And it may be the case that a topic isn't quite what you expected, or your commitments are more than you thought for the semester. And if that's the case, that's okay. That's how university can work. But if you withdraw before census date, you won't be charged for the course. So if you're sitting on the edge about something, it's an important time to keep in mind. And then the week 9, you can withdraw from courses without failing, but after census date, you would still incur a debt for that course. So, we'd hate to see a withdraw from any course, but we appreciate that life can be complicated. So I do encourage you to keep that census date in mind. And if you need to withdraw, do it before then, rather than after. I would say, in a related topic, if you are having trouble with any of your topics, I'd really encourage you to seek support from the topic coordinator or from student services as soon as possible. Don't feel that you're suffering alone, that your issues are something you need to deal with. We're all here to support you, and we would much prefer to hear from you and find a way forward to resolve those issues rather than have you out on your own. So please get in touch. And then the thing I know, yes?
Sorry, you mentioned the topic coordinator.
Yes.
Who is that and where can we find it? Because I haven't really heard much about it.
That's a good point. So the topic coordinator is the academic with overall responsibility for the topic. And particularly in the big first year topics, that there'll be someone who is running the topic, but then the lecturers and the tutors may not be that person. So it's slightly complicated. But if you go to the topic page, or now you'll have access to Flow, the topic coordinator will always be listed there. And then they should be there for the first week of class generally. But that information about who the topic coordinator is will be available. But if for whatever reason you have trouble resolving that question, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. So just my name's Ian Moffat. You have a look at my website, or my email is ian.moffat@flinders.edu.au, and I'm happy to check it out for you if it's not clear. Thank you for the question. And then I know the thing you're all looking forward to the most is exams coming at the end of June, early July. So something to look forward to. Okay, that's it, I think, for me. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your interest in archaeology. It's wonderful to have you on campus, and I'm really excited to go on this archaeology journey with you over the next few years, or as in Jared's case, 20 years. Maybe one of you will be here doing this welcome for new students 20 years from now, which would be wonderful.
I'll be happy to be anywhere.
You and me both. Any final questions for me or Courtney or Jared?
Because we all support each other's students, buy a copy of my book. If you want to know what it is, I'll be happy to tell you. And it's about archaeology, okay? And a couple of other things. There you go.
I saw a small paper bag pass between these two before. I'm sure that's unrelated to your comment. Fair enough. Okay, well, if there's no more questions or shameless plugs, thank you again. Sorry, somewhat shameless. As I said, wonderful to have you here. You're going to have a fantastic next few years in archaeology. So thank you all.
Okay, I'm going to start heading down towards the hub for free lunch. So I'll leave anyone down there if you like. If you don't want to follow me, that's also fine. If you want to find me later, I'm going to be on level 1 in the hub at the archaeology class on the day.
Sorry about that. It was,
It
was a shame.
I appreciate it very much.
You should read the book.
I would like to. I'll have a look. Thank you.
It's not under my name, so
Okay.
I need to give you the detail. But if you're interested, I will.
Yeah, please.
Do you want it?
Yeah, send me an email.
I will.